All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jacques Etsier from Nedbank. I run open banking and API marketplace. Today, I'm just going to share a quick summary of our open banking and our API marketplace strategy and how that's important to our digital strategy going forward. Let's kick off and get into it and just share my screen quickly. All right, so in 2018, Nedbank launched our MVP for API marketplace. In essence, API marketplaces provide us with the ability to provision banking products and services to external third parties, as well as our own internal properties like Avo, which is our newly launched super app, which Vishal will talk to in a couple of minutes. You'll see the banking services listed at the bottom here. In 2018, we went in with finance and wallets, which we delivered then subsequently in 2019. And effectively, our API marketplace allows us to tackle multiple customers and segments at the same time through the provision of these APIs to external third parties and internally towards the bank. And that allows us to provide or build a captive and meaningful ecosystem of products and services, which become extremely appealing to customers in these third-party journeys or external to bank journeys, like, for example, e-commerce sites, vehicle asset finance, dealership sites, etc. So I think a lot of you would probably want to know, what is an API if you're not familiar with it. But effectively, an API is the thing that, it translates what happens on the back end where all of our products and services are hosted in our core banking systems. It translates all of those rules and gives them up to the customers or to the front ends for these third parties that can consume them in a manner that the customers can actually go through these journeys, like, for example, unsecured lending or vehicle asset finance or wallet journeys. So it's really the thing in the middle that sits and translates between the core backend systems and provides that information and those experiences to the front ends that consume them. And the key ingredients for an API marketplace, I think, are very important. You have to have a product that provides the right kind of experience, not just for the customer who consumes the product on the third-party platform, but also for the third parties themselves. If those third parties can't consume these APIs in a manner which is efficient for them, it will become very difficult and it will become very costly and a very time-intensive process to consume these APIs. Intention and consent is a core principle of open banking. Open banking being a standard that's been adopted in countries like Britain and Australia. And in South Africa is fast being adopted, with Nedbank leading the way, but we are spending a lot of time with the regulator, positioning how open banking could be landed in the South African context. But intention and consent allows you basically for the flow of information between customers, the third parties and the bank. So it is a key cornerstone of open banking and API marketplaces. And then lastly, the monetization piece. There are multiple commercial models that come with API marketplaces and open banking. The popular ones at the moment largely being revenue share kind of models for your lending products and your transaction capabilities. But there are other types of commercial models that come with open banking, depending on the type of product that you're consuming as a third party and what's on offer in API marketplaces. So what are we trying to solve for, which is key for our digital enablement and our digital strategy going forward? Firstly, the time to market. Traditionally, integrating directly into our back-end core systems where these products are hosted was very time intensive. And secondly, also took it was very costly to integrate. So those become commercially unviable for both the bank as well as third parties to pursue. What API Marketplace solves for, or open banking solves for, is creating a standardized way for third parties and the banks to provision these APIs and how they get used. The digital service offerings really talks to how banks can provide ingredients to existing platforms and marketplaces. A good use case here would be, for example, an unsecured lending product in an e-commerce journey at checkout. The provision or the ability to qualify or apply for a vehicle asset finance loan on a dealership website when you're buying a car. The onboarding of a wallet journey when you're trying to pay somebody else in a peer-to-peer kind of fashion. So really these things, time to market, cost to integrate, and the digital service offerings are extensions of our existing digital strategy that we needed to solve for. And API Marketplace and open banking provides us with the ability to do that. To further that point, time to market and cost to integrate, like you'll see in the depiction, typically you would have, as an application or a third party, gone directly into the back-end systems. It's resource and cost intensive. There's a lot of bespoke integration that happens there, so there's no reuse of that integration in other channels. And there were no real standards applied there other than what the bank forced third parties to adhere to. In an API marketplace, you'll see a quicker time to market through standardized approaches and APIs. The application of a microservices architecture, which provides us with the ability to reuse these APIs across multiple channels, whether they are internal or to external third parties. And we're developing against those open banking standards, like I mentioned, which has become prevalent and regulated in countries like Britain and Australia. Lastly, if you think about the traditional distribution model that banks typically followed, if you were providing products and services out into the market, it would have happened through branches, call centers, our Nedbank-owned properties like Nedbank.coza and MoneyApp. API Marketplace and open banking provides us with the ability to then extend these products and services into our own marketplaces like Avo, which Vishal will talk about, but also then into other platforms and marketplaces that want to consume these banking products and services. Like I've mentioned before, potentially an e-commerce player, a peer-to-peer lending platform, a wallet provider of some kind. So it really gives us additional distribution, but importantly also provides to the customer a product or service in his moment of need on one of those platforms. Last page, so the current products available in our sandbox and in our live environment on our website, apim.nedbank.coza, is listed on the slide. The key ones being personal loans, our rewards payments, open data, wallets, and vehicle asset finance APIs. If you would like to or you're interested, please go and register on the site and get in touch with us so we can have a conversation with you. There are additional products coming online towards the end of this year and going into next year, which will iterate on the existing products that we have here. So improvements on those, but also landing new services, new products that are coming in next year, which will be ready or available in Sandbox and live to consume. I think that's it from me. I'm going to hand over to Vishal to take over and talk about Avo.
Yeah, thanks, Jacques. Really exciting to listen to your talk on the Open API Marketplace. I must admit, and I'd like to add that Nedbank was the first bank in South Africa to actually release an Open API Marketplace, and it bears testimony to our open nature of banking, to be all-inclusive and to allow partners to come into our network and really extract value from our data, from our capabilities, and to extend our data and capabilities into our partners' worlds. So thanks for sharing once more. I'm going to share my screen, and then I'll get straight into my side of the presentation. Okay, and I'd love to introduce you to Avo by Nedbank. I'm going to take you through a very brief presentation on, firstly, the importance of the API Marketplace in adding extreme value to the build out of Avo, and then obviously as we roll into market, the commercialization thereof. The API Marketplace plays a pivotal role for Avo in terms of ensuring that as a platform business, we are able to, even as a third party, even though we're part of the Nedbank group, able to consume APIs that are acquired through Jacques' API Marketplace. And these APIs, I'll unpack a little bit more in terms of which APIs we use when to curate which customer experiences and business experiences on Avo. So let's get into it. So before we even talk about APIs, I thought it important to first illustrate the move from traditional pipeline businesses to platform businesses that is happening very, very actively in all industries at this point in time. We've seen that pipeline businesses like General Motors, Nokia, Motorola that have excelled at being pipeline businesses, and I'll explain why shortly. How they've fallen from grace. At one stage, massive hype around these companies in terms of how they've been able to innovate and add extreme value to their customer base. But unfortunately, they get disrupted. And I think in a number of industries, we've seen huge disruption come from the likes of the platform companies. And just to mention, the giants of the East and Amazon of the West that I've added in terms of platform businesses on this slide, the likes of Alibaba, Rakuten, Tencent, Penang have provided massive disruption to traditional pipeline businesses in the geographies and in the industries they serve. Now, what is the difference between a pipeline business and a platform business? Well, there's three fundamental key shifts that have been seen with respect to pipeline businesses transforming into platform businesses. The first thing is resource control. I think it's important to note that what pipeline businesses do effectively well is that they take resources and they incrementally improve those resources through the value chain to provide product or output or service that obviously enables value in the consumer's life. Whereas platform businesses, on the other hand, don't actually own any of the resources. And hence, that's the key ingredient to why they're able to scale efficiently, because they scale by allowing other producers and consumers on their network to own the resources. All the platform business does is orchestrates these resources, ties them up effectively to provide beautiful experiences to both customers and to businesses or consumers and producers on the platform. Another key shift we've seen is that around internal optimization versus external interaction. So internal optimization is all about creating value by optimizing the entire chain of activities, from sourcing materials and services to producing the outputs and goods. And that's what pipeline businesses do effectively well. However, on the other hand, platform businesses create value by facilitating interactions amongst the external producers and consumers. In this way, they're able to externalize the cost. And that's, as I said, a key ingredient to be able to scale efficiently. Why? Because they don't have to own all the assets. They don't have to own all the resources that goes into producing the products and services. These are owned by participants on the platform. And what platform businesses do well is they allow for the tools and capabilities to be available to these consumers and producers to be able to interact, to be able to trade, to be able to produce goods and services and to sell. The third shift we've seen is focus on customer value. Now, whereas pipeline businesses have done effectively well in terms of focusing customer value, but platform businesses do is focus on ecosystem value. Fine difference between this, but what that essentially means is that pipeline businesses, and rightly so, are infatuated with the customer and extracting and creating optimal value for their customer base. Why? Because their customers keep them alive. Customers keep them profitable. Customers help them scale and reach market dominance. But platform businesses also have the same aspirations. But what they do effectively is that they focus on both sides of the network, not just the consumer or customer base, but also business and merchant base. Why? Because if you had to focus on both sides of the network, you stimulate the network effects. So when you keep the consumer happy, businesses would want to come into your platform because they can access a scaling and robust marketplace. But when you keep the businesses happy, businesses want to stay in your platform, and having more variety, optionality, choice for your customer attracts more customers. And this is what stimulates the network effect. And this is why platform businesses have been able to scale, some of them to billions of customers, most of them to hundreds of millions of customers. So the next slide, the pertinent question is South Africa ready for a platform economy? A paper released by the Gordon Institute of Business Science and Accenture in 2018 illustrated an emphatic no as an answer to this question. And the 5 reasons they cited was because South Africa struggles with digital user size and savviness. Yes, we're a dichotomy in terms of economy, and we have varying degree of digital users in the country, but certainly something that is improving with stead. Yeah, if you see the penetration of smartphones in the communities, certainly we're seeing a large adoption of smartphones, which obviously improves the access to digital. Open innovation culture. The paper argued that South Africa struggles with an open innovation culture. The paper argues that technology readiness is an issue, especially if you want to be a powerhouse in the digital ventures. But obviously, you know, as we seek to improve our skills shortage in South Africa, we also seek to partner internationally with technology partners that give us the ability and the bandwidth to be able to expand our digital forays. But obviously, as we utilize these partners in the technology space internationally, we seek to consistently skill and train up our own resources to allow for sustainable resourcing going forward. And then digital talent and entrepreneurship seem to be another key reason why South Africa is not ready for a platform economy. And then adaptive policy regulation, especially data privacy and cybersecurity, was another reason mentioned. Now, Nedbank have a while back, possibly over the last 2 years and beyond, seek to address these systemic issues that's prevalent in South Africa, and that creates an impediment to us being able to, you know, foray into the platform economy. And we did that quite successfully because we addressed each and every one of these 5 elements to produce what I'm very excited to announce to you is Avo by Nedbank. Now, like Jacques said, Avo is a super app, and this is where the narrative starts to integrate from what Jacques explained around the Open API marketplace and how we've able to consume the bank's data and capabilities to allow Avo to provide rich experiences and interfaces to our customer and business base. So customers can get everything on Avo. It's a super app. It's keenly positioned for the home ecosystem. So all experiences in the home we cater for. And you can imagine, as somebody who runs a household, your needs in the home varies from acquiring food through grocery shopping, takeaways, to things break in your home and you need home services. What about your value-added services like airtime, data, electricity bundles? You can get all that on Avo. And then Avo, core to Avo, is our payments ecosystem, which enables peer-to-peer payments in a very, very efficient way from wallet to wallet. Every customer gets a wallet on the platform. Every business gets a wallet on the platform. And that allows for frictionless payments between customers and businesses on the platform. Now, all of this is underpinned by extracting and acquiring the data and capability of the bank through the API marketplace. If it wasn't for the API marketplace, integration into the bank's environment would be exceptionally expensive, time-consuming, and would not be able to provide the rich experiences we require in order to attract businesses and customers to our platform, which is Avo. So the typical journey you'll see on the customer side from an Avo perspective is a customer wanting to buy a fridge and looking at potentially funding that fridge through a unsecured loan, so get it on credit. And what the API marketplace allows us to do is integrate that offering directly into the purchase journey of buying a fridge on Avo, making it seamless and effective for the customer to fund the fridge alternatively, not using cash, but rather credit. But like I said, platforms are double-sided networks. There's a consumer side to things, and there's a business side to things. And businesses are just as important to Avo as our customers. In fact, it's the most exciting proposition we have, because in these trying times during the COVID-19 pandemic, small businesses specifically are struggling. But what Avo allows small businesses to do is accelerate their foray into the online shopping space and the e-commerce space by providing very effective, seamless, frictionless tools to these businesses to be able to onboard themselves, to be able to sell their services and goods, and to receive secure payments into their wallets. Now, what does Avo give to businesses? Quality leads. Avo is currently close on 100,000 consumers that have signed up on Avo. Something we're very proud of, understanding that we've only been in market for about 3 months. But with all humility, we continuously learn, and we learn every day. But these quality leads can be presented to a business that's on the platform. A business gets a wallet, and that allows them to transact securely on the platform and receive payments from consumers instantly. There's a very, very exciting feature on Avo called payment reservation. It's an escrow facility that allows consumers to pay businesses with the security of knowing that they have the ability to first receive the goods and services, assess satisfaction with the goods and services before payment is released to the business. And obviously, verified status is exceptionally important on Avo, because we go through the painstaking effort of verifying each and every business that we onboard onto Avo, ensuring that we provide integrity and trust in the platform, both from consumers and for businesses. And just to mention, all of this is made possible again through integrating into the API marketplace and consuming those functions and data. So Avo is a platform, and I've touched on a lot of this already, connects consumers and businesses together, and these businesses and consumers trading goods and services, obviously in a highly integrated way. And that's the magic in Avo. As Avo team, we focus on curating these experiences and journeys and creating highly integrated, frictionless journeys for both consumers and businesses to be able to trade. Like I said, we leverage the bank rate security for secure and immediate payments through the API marketplace, and this enables the transfer of value for goods and services exchanged in the platform. We also use artificial intelligence to match consumer lifestyle needs to products and service offerings, and we reward customers and businesses every step of the way. So most of these capabilities from a financial services perspective is consumed via the API marketplace. Ultimately, we seek to provide great deals at great convenience. That's what it's about. We don't have to own all the resources. Resources are almost donated to the platform by consumers and businesses that participate in the platform. And what we do is we just add the value add in terms of capabilities, in terms of features and functions that allows businesses and consumers to trade. So what do businesses get? Well, like I said, it's one of our most, it's a proposition we're most excited about, because businesses have been able to really accelerate their organizations to embrace e-commerce, especially in response to the new normal of doing business in the COVID-19 pandemic times, as well as post-COVID-19, the new normal will prevail, which forces businesses to go online and to embrace e-commerce more effectively. Avo offers highly competitive rates. We don't typically make our money in the ways traditional e-commerce businesses make their money. Remember, at the heart of Avo is a financial services organization, which is Nedbank. And it's our intent to ensure that through Avo, by embedding ourselves in our customers' lives, as they go about acquiring solutions for needs and wants in their home, we are able to embed the Nedbank's financial services offerings into those journeys, so that, you know, if a customer had to require an insurance product or require a personal loan to fund a purchase event, we could do that effectively as Nedbank through Avo. We have onboarded and continue to onboard logistics partners. And obviously, as we onboard more logistics partners and through the economies of scale, as more and more participants, consumers come on the platform and buy for delivery, and more businesses come on the platform and sell for their goods and services for delivery, last mile delivery or nationwide, we are able to provide highly competitive rates on our platforms to businesses, small, medium enterprises, as well as large enterprises looking to move goods last mile or nationwide through one of our logistics partners. And lastly, with the data insights we generate on the platform, we are able to provide rich data analytics to businesses to be able to help them grow effectively by understanding their customer preferences, by understanding the markets in which they participate. And finally, all of this has come together, and this is something very exciting that we're about to launch in Q4 of this year, in the last quarter of this year. And it has something to do with the Proptech industry, which is hugely encouraging. What we've done is, and this is where all the pieces of the puzzle comes together, the APIs that we've consumed through the API marketplace has allowed us to amalgamate rich customer experiences into Avo. And then we've ported that into what we'd like to call a truly omni-channel experience by blurring the boundaries of the digital and physical marketplaces. So what we're doing is we're taking Avo and embedding it into the digital mall experience. So as a shopper, as you shop from your favorite mall, you can shop from any of the tenants in that mall, and you could either get those goods picked up by yourself or a third party from one of our collection lounge facilities situated at the mall, or get delivery to your home, all through Avo. So that's how Avo is going into creating a digital experience for consumers who wish to shop from malls. Now, it has massive value enablement for property partners. Why? Because as COVID-19, with COVID-19, we've seen a decline in the number of people that have entered physical environments like malls and rather have opted for the online shopping experience. But as we open up, we know that there'll be a new normal, and people will be exceptionally pedantic about health and hygiene and safety, and therefore would possibly look at utilizing their malls in a different way. And property managers that are on the forefront of embracing digital have realized that they should rather position the social aspects of the shopping experience rather than the mundane shopping activities that a consumer will undertake. So why not go to your local mall, peruse and a coffee shop or a restaurant or boutique shop that you like to peruse often, and get your groceries shopped online with pickup from the collection facility situated conveniently at the mall, allowing you more time to do the things you actually want to do as a consumer, and taking away the mundaneness of actually doing your monthly grocery shopping, which will be ready for you in one of our locker systems for you to pick up once you make your way home. So that I hope painted a integrated picture of how the API marketplace has allowed us to extract capabilities and data from NetBank to be able to embed them in our Avo experiences and journeys. And all of this has come together in one of the most exciting propositions we're going to bring to market shortly, which is the digital mall concept that allows for a truly integrated omni-channel experience where we marry digital and the physical world together to create awesome experiences for customers and businesses alike. So thanks for listening in today. It was a pleasure talking to you.